guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I've got a video that I'm going to be talking all about beauty sponges. So we all know the classic Beautyblender. It's probably the most famous of all the beauty sponges, and I think ever since this sponge came out, all the other companies and makeup brands have just been trying their best to recreate it. So a lot of the drugstore brands launched in 2017 kind of their Beautyblender dupe. So today I'm going to kind of go through all of those, the ones that I picked up, and tell you kind of where I think you should spend your money if you're looking for a dupe and you don't want to spend the $20 on the Beautyblender, because really, I mean, it is expensive to think that you can pay $20 for something that in about 3 or 4 months that you'll need to replace, just because you just go through them that quickly. So if you can find something that costs $5 or $8 and it does just as good of a job, why not use that one instead of the Beautyblender? So the first one I've got today isn't necessarily a new one, but I went out and bought a new one. I've had this sponge before, and it's the Real Techniques. It is their Miracle Complexion sponge, and it's probably the most well-known as a dupe for the Beautyblender. I think that I found it to be very soft. Obviously, the shape is a little bit different, and it's a little bit bigger than the Beautyblender. You can see it there. And all of these sponges I use wet, so I will run them underwater, kind of squeeze all that excess out, and then use it to apply my foundation onto my face. But where the Beautyblender has kind of that almost like an egg shape, it has the pointed tip and then kind of that flat inside that I like using to get the foundation to kind of get it, bounce it all over the skin. The Real Techniques sponge has that same kind of pointed egg shape, but then it also has this flat side here. So it's really good at being able to get up underneath your eyes and kind of around the corners of your nose. And this retails for about $6. Now, one of the things that Real Techniques came out with that I was able to get my hands on were, you get a set of 2, and they're Miracle Eraser sponges. And so basically they have the exact same shape as the larger sponge. They both have that flat side to it, but these are just smaller. Now, comparing their small one, their mini size, compared to the Beautyblender's micro mini, you can see that the Real Techniques is a lot bigger. And then once you wet it, it is going to expand. And I really like this. I think it's really great for concealer. So I'll put the concealer underneath my eyes, and I'll use this damp. And it works in really well. It's small enough you can get right up underneath there. You can get right up in the corner of your eye. And again, it has that flat side, just like the larger one does. So if you want to get down underneath and kind of go like that, you can do it. And it's the same. It almost feels a little bit softer than the Real Techniques sponge, but they're both very, very similar, and they're both very, very soft. So the next one that I picked up that I found was from L'Oreal, and so they actually released 3 new sponges, and I purchased the foundation blender, which is this one right here. They also have a concealer blender and a contour blender. You can see the pictures there on the screen. And the one thing I really like about this one, again, it's kind of similar to the Beautyblender. It's a little bit bigger, dry, than the Beautyblender is. But the shape is a little bit different. It has this kind of notch where it kind of gets, it's almost like it has a waist. It kind of gets a little bit smaller in the middle, and then it's got your pointed tip at the end, and then you've kind of got that flat, rounded flat side on the bottom to kind of get in there with it. The one thing that I will notice, and I'll show a picture on the screen in just a second, when this gets wet, it like triples in size. I mean, it gets huge. But that's where I think kind of the little, what I call it the handle, comes in handy, because it does get big, but it gives you that perfect grip to be able to hold it, whether you're using the pointed end to get around your nose, around your mouth, anywhere else that you needed the small pointed end, or if you flip it around and are using the bigger side to kind of get that foundation and blend it in all over, you've kind of got that handle, which I think is really great, because sometimes the sponges, you're afraid if you dig your fingers in, or they can be awkward to kind of hold, to make sure you kind of get it in there. But this one doesn't do that. Now, I didn't pick up the concealer or the contour blender. The contour blender kind of has a strange shape, and I just wasn't sure that I would use it enough. And I wanted to kind of test these, the smaller ones out here. Another smaller ones that I didn't purchase, but Emily Noel 83 on here has raved about them. They're the Whispers. I'll show, you can see a picture on the screen. And it's another 2-pack mini, and they look a little bit more comparable in size to the micro mini. I think these Real Techniques, the small version ones, are a little bit bigger than what those Whisper ones are. But those are at Walmart, I think, for around $2.98. So if you find those and you're wanting to try a smaller version, she really raves about those. So I may end up going back and purchasing them just to check it out and see. And then the last sponge that I picked up from the new launch from the drugstore was this Perfecting Blender Duo from Eco Tools. And so it comes in a pack of 2. And basically it's just kind of like a small version and a large version. And this one is kind of neat because it's got 2 different flat sides. So it's got one flat side that kind of goes almost the entire length of the sponge, and then it's flat across the tip there. And then it's got another little flat edge. Let me turn it this way so you can kind of see it. There you go. It's got another flat side right here, and it only goes about halfway down. And then the smaller version is the exact same thing. So it's got the rounded end, and then it's got the smaller flat edge here, and then it's the longer one here, and then it flattens across the top. I will say probably this was my least favorite of all of the sponges that I tried. And actually, I found the larger one to be a lot softer and a lot easier to work with. I just felt like it went on a little bit smoother, and it was a little softer to work with. The smaller one is a lot firmer, like a lot firmer. And so I tried it, using it kind of for concealer again because it's smaller. Now I'll show you the size comparison. So here's the larger one compared to the Beautyblender. And then here is the smaller one compared to the Beautyblender. So their smaller version is about the same size as the Beautyblender. And when it gets wet, it doesn't get grow as much as this one does, just because, like I said, it's a lot more stiff and a lot more dense. So I've actually found myself using this larger one that I have here. But really, I think probably, I would say you really can't go wrong with any of these. Probably, if I kind of had to place them, I would say maybe the Real Techniques Complexion sponge is kind of my first choice. But I really do love the L'Oreal. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not, especially where it kind of grows inside, or grows in size. But those are probably my 2 favorite. Both of them, I think the Real Techniques out of all of them is the cheapest. And then the L'Oreal, and then the Perfector Duo. But you've got to think about it. The Perfector Duo, I think they were around $10, but you're getting 2 sponges. But for me, I'm probably only going to reach for this one, and not so much this one. So it's not necessarily always the better deal, just because you get 2 versus these where you can just get 1. But I would say any of those you really can't go wrong with. So if you've been wanting to try out a beauty sponge and you've just not wanted to splurge and spend the money on the Beautyblender, I think all of these options that I talked about today are good choices. I don't think you can go wrong. I think they all work really smooth and kind of give you that flawless finish. And I prefer a beauty sponge when putting it on my foundation, just because I think sometimes with a brush you can get brush strokes, or it just doesn't blend out as well. So I hope you had found this video helpful. If you've been looking at any of those sponges, trying to decide which one that you wanted to spend your money on, I would love it if you would give me a thumbs up. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, and then that way you can not miss any of my future videos. So hope you all are having a great day today. I'll see you next time. Bye.